Hey guys, welcome to the Tea with Nicque. What am I drinking today? Green tea, which is basically my go-to. This lovely cup, though, I got from my best friend who sent me a very unexpected care package a few weeks ago that had me crying. It had like Korean face mask, beauty face masks in it and everything, a really cool journal. Awesome. Need friends like that in your life. Thank you so much, girl. So, today on the tea, I'm going to be talking about something that I've kind of wanted to talk about for a while now, but I just saw one TikTok about it this morning, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I need to say something about this. And it is particularly because it is related to the anime community, but also it's about being black. So, if you're a My Hero fan, then you know that I think in the second to last episode of season 4, they introduced the character Mirko into the series for the first time. Why is this important? Mirko is a female character of color. She's black, and this has really been it's been a really big deal, something that people were really looking forward to. And the English voice actor for Mirko is a lovely actress named Anairis Quiñones. I hope that I'm saying that right. I believe there's an Enya in there. And she is a black woman. And she had a few lines in that episode. But I mean, I liked it. She sounded really strong and everything, confident. I loved it. I didn't think that there was anything to not like about it. But then, getting down to it, we started seeing a lot of criticism about how Anairis is playing this character. And some of the comments coming out are that she's not sassy enough, or like she doesn't have enough attitude. And then people just came out and said it. She's not black enough. She doesn't sound black enough. Oh, she doesn't sound black enough. Apparently, another criticism is that Anairis, the voice actor, does not fit the body type of Mirko, which is hilarious. And we're going to get into that. But first, I really want to get into the whole thing about not sounding black enough. And I can speak to this. Being a black woman, growing up not only black, but mixed race, feeling like I have to bridge the gap between a whole bunch of different worlds because I have black heritage, because I have Hispanic heritage, because I have Native American heritage, not just the Native American that everybody is. Like, I'm 1/16 Cherokee, yeah, whatever. Your grandmother was a Cherokee princess, yeah, whatever the fuck. No, like, my grandmother for real, like, is indigenous Nicaraguan. Like, I have a village. I have cousins. I talk to a village that I have not visited yet that I need to. And I have grown up feeling like I am not enough of any of these things, particularly black. And it's quite problematic that when you're interested in certain things, like when you speak a certain way, if you're not using Ebonics all the time, if you're interested in if you were interested in like alternative rock, like you liked Paramore, Fall Out Boy, and Panic at the Disco growing up, comic books, anime, just being an AP student, being smart, having good grades. It's very problematic that those things are associated automatically with being white. And that being aggressive, that speaking a certain way, like, and just portraying that one-dimensional kind of character is automatically associated with being black. Also, like, not many people know that Hispanic people can also be black. Like, not everybody looks like J-Lo. But because Hollywood really only casts Latinas that look like J-Lo, people think that you can't be black and Hispanic at the same time. So then you're not Hispanic enough for the Hispanics. And then if you have all of these interests and you have a black circle of friends, then you are the white friend because you have all of those interests. If you're in a white circle of friends, then of course you're the black one. But sometimes you're not one of those black people, which is awful. You know what I mean? And I feel like that can happen to really anyone that's like mixed race, mixed with black and something else. But I think it happens to black women just in general, black women that don't happen to fit a certain stereotype of what people think they should be, how people think they should talk, what people think that they should like. And it's not fair because it seems like we are not allowed to have more than a one-dimensional character, the stereotypical one-dimensional character that we've been portrayed to have. It feels like, white people especially are allowed to have, different temperaments and allowed to have different interests and allowed to be unique, but we have to fit into a box. Especially as an actor, if you're a black actor, you know this struggle. If you've been in for a while, you're usually pigeonholed into certain types of roles. The sassy side character, the sassy black friend, the overly sexual character, as black women have been over-sexualized over the past 100 years for many reasons that is too much to get into in this one video. Always using ebonics, always talking a certain way, which is why Misty Copeland was a big deal in the ballet community, because until Misty Copeland, black women were primarily just cast in, very sexually charged roles in ballet. You didn't expect them to be Odette or whatever in Swan Lake until Misty Copeland came around. And even still, Misty Copeland is criticized just for her body type, for being too muscular, and not for being dainty enough, because dainty roles are reserved for whiteness, it seems. And I can't tell you how many times I've been in an audition room, and even though I know, like, I want the lead, I want the princess, I want the dainty role, but I know that that's probably not going to happen, because that's not how people see people that look like me, knowing that I'm probably going to get the sassy character, and usually I do. I was really fortunate to come up in theater, even though I was in one of the whitest schools in America, the United States Air Force Academy. In our theater club, it was basically just me and a whole bunch of white men. But that was kind of an anomaly, because even in that circle, we were casted based on merit. I even had to be told sometimes by my friend who's like, don't think I'm gonna cast you just because you're my friend. Like, I was like, okay, yeah, I know I have to earn it. But there were times that, like, I even wanted the sassy role. I was like, I want the vivacious, like, attitudinal role, and they gave me the dainty one, because they were like, yeah, I know you probably want that role, but the way your voice is set up, you are the only one who is technically able to reach those high soprano notes, Nicque, so you're going to get this part. And at some level, I think that probably I wanted that sassy role because I thought in the back of my head that there is nothing else that I could possibly be suited for. There is no other, I can't possibly get anything else. I can't have the dainty character. What? It's me. I'm black. No one ever casts a black woman as the dainty character. But my friends proved me wrong, and I was very fortunate to grow up in that environment. But coming out of that, and especially, moving to New York and everything, you're very aware that it's not like that. Most likely, you are still going to get pigeonholed into those roles and into acting that certain way. And that's not fair. I use ebonics in my videos all the time. And that's because when I think of those scenes as those characters in my head, in my petty brain, that's how I want to say it at that time. But I don't walk around talking like that all the time. Code switching is another thing we can talk about entirely, but that is not me all the time. And it's very damaging because there is no one way to be black. That's messed up. And when you say someone like that, when you say an actor doesn't sound black enough or they don't act black enough, then that's kind of like some internalized stereotyping, regardless of what color you are, because both black people and white people have said this about Anairis, the English dub actor for Mirko. That is some internalized racism right there, even against yourself, saying that you can only be this one-dimensional kind of character and you can't have any other characteristics. You're not free to have any other interests. You're not free to be unique within your own race even. You have to be like perpetually this image of like unmistakable blackness when there is no one fucking right way to be a black person. And then going to the body type criticism, the fact that people are criticizing Anairis for not having the body type of Mirko. And if you've seen the body type of Mirko, from the beginning, from the moment we saw Mirko's body, we were like, we can't fucking compete. Can't compete. She's hot as hell. Every anime female has an unattainable body. The fuck? Like, I would love to look like Urza Scarlet, but I know the fuck I do not. It's completely ridiculous that they are giving that criticism to her when we know that anime women, animated anime women, have unattainable bodies. And it really shows like how I think black women are criticized, overly criticized for things that other people are not criticized for at all. White voice actors, I've never seen them been criticized for not looking like the people they portray. I've never seen J. Michael Tatum get criticized for not looking like Erwin Smith. You know, the voice of Naruto is a woman. She don't look like Naruto. The fuck? You know, the voice of Ochako Uraraka does not look like Ochako Uraraka. Like, that is not something that I've ever heard anyone say until Anairis. I've never heard anyone say that. And so you really got to think about, like, why people are so willing to nitpick on this character and this specific actress for things that just really aren't done, even in the anime community. And especially in the anime community which is one of many where black women are kind of shut out and they're like gatekeepers to who can be a fan. And a lot of fandoms like this are like, you know, comic books and gaming and stuff like that, where we're always looked down on for having those interests, both by outsiders and insiders, being told that we can't be a part of that community. That's a big problem. And it really shows like how I think some people are kind of always out to gatekeep us out and find something wrong with us. And it's frustrating. Bottom line, there is no one way to be black, okay? It's a very big deal that Mirko is a black female on My Hero Academia, but there is no one way to be a black female. I imagine that people expected that Mirko would look and sound a little bit more like the female version of Rocklock, who is a black man on My Hero Academia, and he very much is. Ebonics, attitudinal, I am blackity black, black, we know this motherfucker is black, black, black. And you know what? That's okay. That is okay. It is completely okay for two fictional black people to exist within a show that are completely different from each other, because there is more than one way to be black. Ebonics is a big part of our culture. Being that way at times is a big part of our culture. Sometimes a performative part, but it is a big part of our culture. And it is okay to be that way, you know, as a character and as a person. It's also okay to be whatever the fuck you are, however the fuck you talk, whatever the fuck you like. It's okay to be Mirko. It's okay to be Anairis, how she voices it. Not necessarily like overly ebonicized as I'm calling it right now, but it doesn't fucking matter. And I've seen both black people and white people make this criticism, and it's very sad because even within our own community, we run this risk of not being enough, of not being black enough, which, like I said, is internalized racism against ourselves, because we've limited ourselves to only being able to be one type of personality, to only being able to speak one certain way. We are not allowed to be unique. We're not allowed to be our own person, even beyond our blackness. We're not allowed. I feel like white people are allowed to have unique characteristics and have different interests and everything. They're allowed to be multidimensional people. We don't allow ourselves to do that for some reason. And that's very harmful, and it's extremely damaging. It's extremely damaging to the culture, it's extremely damaging to the community, it's extremely damaging to individuals. And if we're ever going to move forward, we really need to get rid of that archaic way of seeing ourselves, and we need to be empowering actors like Anairis, who are out there killing the game, who are out there voicing characters of color in places that we haven't seen. As we know, there aren't very many black characters in anime, and so every time we see one pop up, it is a big deal. But to put that criticism on her and other actors like her, and then go further and then put more criticisms on her, like body type, criticisms that are almost never given to anime voice actors, ever. It just further shows how much we're willing to nitpick our own people, allow people to nitpick our own people, and just to keep on gatekeeping. That's really messed up. And so, like I said, that's something we need to stop doing. Anairis is killing it as Mirko. Also, she only had a few fucking lines in that episode. It's kind of impossible to tell the emotional range of a character from just a few fucking lines. So it's kind of a moot point right there. You could just stop right there, but I did not. I had to go into the other stuff. But that's my point. There is no one way to be black. We need to stop saying that about our actors. We need to stop saying that about ourselves, about our children. We need to stop saying that about our friends. That is a habit that we need to break, so that we can allow ourselves to be more multidimensional characters, both in real life and on stage and on screen. That's all I got to say about that. So yeah, that is the tea. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if there is something else that you would like me to talk about. But that is it for today's episode of The Tea with Nicque. Thank you very much, and I'll see y'all next time.